Okay, so today we are learning how to empower our customer service, and we have a new partner in Good2Go software. And Michael is here, president, correct? CEO?
Yes. Yep.
Excellent. And he's going to walk us through the product service and what it means to you and how it can improve your company. And we are recording this for everyone's participation and to listen back later on. So thank you and welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Christine. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate everyone's time to come see the presentation and what we got to say. So with further ado, I'll go ahead and just get started. And let me start off by sharing my screen. Can you see the screen, Christine? You let
Hang
me know
on.
if,
Yep, you can
all
go
right.
ahead and share. Go ahead.
All right. You see it?
I just see you at the moment.
Oh, well, we don't want that. You've seen enough of me. We want to see actually screen. Uh, Screen. Oh, wait. Desktop. Share.
There you
How
go.
we see that? I'm going to turn off my camera as soon as I figure out where.
Down in the lower left should be. And I'm doing the same.
Where is it? Stop video. Yay. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now figured out the technology and we can now proceed with our presentation. So today we're going to talk about empowering your customer service. And everyone here gets a break today on the presentation side because I got to tell you a quick story. I sat through another vendor's presentation here a couple weeks ago. It went on for an hour and a half. 50 minutes into the presentation, you hadn't even seen a screen of what their application looked like. I was about ready to impale myself about 10 minutes into the presentation. I'm not about ready to do that to you. I'm going to get to the point as quickly as we can. We're going to get right into the good, juicy, good stuff and show you what's going on. Well, let's get started. First of all, I'll tell you a little bit about ourselves. Good2Go, we're a new company. We've only been around now for about 6 months. We actually started the company a couple of years ago. Both myself and my partner, my CTO, we both come from the industry. I come from the graphic arts industry. Started in 1985. I am trained as a graphic designer and I did paste up artists. I've worked for printers. I also worked in the software industry for about 30 years. So I started off with a little company called Aldus Corporation. You may remember them. They did this nifty little product called PageMaker, and I worked for them in Adobe Systems for 7 years as a product manager before moving on to other things. My partner, he worked for HP, and both of us met at InFocus. And we worked together there for about 7 years before we decided to start our own thing and do Good2Go. So that's a little bit about us and our history. So today I'm going to talk briefly about trends, statistics, and interesting tidbits. And there is a method to my madness and a reason that I want to talk about this stuff. And hopefully I'll get to the point as quickly as possible. So first of all, what are the top challenges for printers in 2022? I'm guessing you can probably guess the first two right off the bat, which is supply chain constraints, labor shortages, inflation, government policies, and of course, COVID, although COVID seems to be lightening up quite a bit. Thank goodness that seems to be going away. But we still got problems with supply chain. I think just about everyone that watches this presentation can say they've had problem getting paper, they've had problem getting parts, they've had problem getting things, and they've also had problem getting employees, because that's obviously something that everyone is dealing with. And this is based on a survey that was done by Printing United just recently here in 2021. The other thing that they took a look at along with that is what the capital investments are and what people plan to invest in. And quite honestly, this list here, I tell you, I don't know if you pay attention in the industry and you sit through these kind of, market trends and everything else, this slide has existed and hasn't changed for 20 years. it's pretty much increased productivity, upgrade equipment, increase product production speeds, expand into new markets, automate operations. Those are the same things I've seen listed forever in the industry of what people are going to do to improve their business. What I'd like to know is where the heck is the customer? You know, a lot of stuff has changed in the especially in the last couple of years of how we interact with people and how people buy products and what their expectations are. And there better be a focus on the customer because I'll tell you, things have changed. And I think you can agree with that just looking at, you know, think about it. 3 years ago, you used to have to wait 2 or 3 days to get something from Amazon. Now you get it the next day. I mean, it's like insane how much things have changed. So keep that in mind. So let's go on to some interesting stats. And again, there is a method to my madness, and there is some, points I'm trying to get to. But first of all, top 5 reasons why print buyers select a printer. Okay, top 5 reasons why a print buyer, the people, your customers, are going to select you as a printer. Number 5, you have the lowest price. That came in at 43% of the respondents said lowest price. 52% of the respondents said provides a variety of services. So you can see that's important. Price is important. Having a variety of services is important. The other thing is has certificates and security in place. I found this one a little surprising, but basically what they're saying is they're concerned about online security and they want to make sure that everything they do is well protected and all that good stuff. Accepts files multiple methods. 55% of the people said this. Of course, this comes down to people are wanting variety in how they can do business with you. They have their way of working. They want to make sure that you can accommodate that. And then last but not least, has an online submission capability. 73% of the people have said that. What's interesting about this stats is if you look at the top 3, it's all about electronic collaboration. It's all about how am I going to do business with you online? How am I going to be able to work with you? How am I going to be able to exchange information? Everyone is very concerned about those things. I'm guessing the COVID probably had a lot to do with this, and I'm guessing Amazon has a lot to do with this as well. Just using Amazon as a reference to the electronic digital world that's out there. So to move on, let's take a look at some other interesting statistics and how do print buyers like to submit jobs? Now, this is very interesting. This is when we start pulling it all together, people. So here's the top 4 reasons why print buyers like to, how print buyers like to submit jobs. So what do you think the number 1 is? And what do you think the distribution is of this? Email is by far the number 1 way that people like to submit jobs. About 40% of the respondents said they like to send in their jobs by email. Between you and I, you probably hate that. Email is horrible, and we'll get more into that later. But that's what's interesting about this particular statistic when you look at this is we go back to the one we just came from. 73% of print buyers say they look to you for your electronic online job submission capabilities to select a printer. Yet, when they want to actually use you, they send it in by email. So you have to ask yourself, why the hell is this? So let's take a look at why is that. So first of all, email and uploading for that matter, it's easy. People, that's why they use it. They're familiar with it. It's a very easy thing for them to use. And besides, the customer doesn't have to take any responsibility in the transaction. They just send off the email and it's all up to you now to figure it out and make it work and sort it out and all that other good stuff. So there's a lot of reasons why the print buyer wants to use email in this transaction. The reason they don't want to use web to print, well, what I've gotten out of customers, and maybe you've heard the same thing too, is they find that a lot of it's too limiting, or if they're a casual print buyer, they find it too confusing. I mean, let's face it, we use terminology in the printing industry, in the graphic arts industry, that people don't know what the hell you're talking about. You start talking about bleed, they start looking for a Band-Aid. That's just not, in a lot of people's lexicon. They hear, this is 80-pound text. They think, God dang, it's a heavy thing. How am I going to get this home? it's just not, I think you get my point. It's all the stuff looks good to people in the industry, but when you look at a layman or somebody who's not involved with printing or the graphic arts, it can be very, very confusing. And that's why some people will shy away from web to print. To tell you a very short personal story, even myself, I've been in the industry 30 years. I've been around electronic, submission of stuff forever. And and yet when I went to buy t-shirts for Good2Go, because that's what you do, is every good new company, the first thing you want to do is go get t-shirts. So I did the same thing, and I used the local company and their online t-shirt builder, and I would not order until I talked to a human being and had them check over what I had designed to make sure everything was good. Here I am, nervous Nelly, 30 years in the industry. I know what I'm doing in graphics, and I was scared to hit the place order button. So that might give you a clue as to what people are really thinking on the other end. So let's get into some interesting little tidbits here and start tying it all together. Email. Remember email? 40% of people like to submit jobs by email. Email is horrible as a workflow. It absolutely is the worst tool in trying to run an operation where you actually need to keep track of what's going on. Do you get a lot of email jobs? I mean, just ask yourself, how many email jobs do we get around here? I talked to somebody like a week and a half ago. They get from 40 to 100 email orders a day. This poor woman that was telling me about this, she's superwoman. She is like the super CSR. You probably wish she worked for you. That someone that can handle 100 email orders a day. My mind just went big time explosion there, because it was just unbelievable and incredible. But even they will tell you the amount of effort it is to keep track of all those emails, keep track of the orders, the likelihood of losing or missing orders or trying to get information out of there. It's absolutely horrendous. Email makes an absolutely horrible workflow. And in fact, according to Harvard, the average employee spends about 20% of their time looking for information. And you can almost guarantee that a lot of that's going through email. So if they're spending, let's say, 20% of their time looking for information, trying to figure things out, going back, trying to reinvent what they're trying to remember, that's a whole day out of a 5-day week. A whole day they're spending doing nothing but just staring at their email, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. That's a lot of time when you look at it from that standpoint. Automation. We all love automation. Everyone talks about automation. You got to automate, 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 automate. Everyone's got to automate. That all sounds really cool, but there is also a big barrier when it comes to automation, and maybe you've experienced this internally. The biggest barrier to automation, about people. When you get down to actually you sit, you design, and you think about the greatest solution out there, and then you go out and you buy the software, you hire the integrators, you get everything tested and working and all that stuff. No, let's go train the employees and get them to use it. 4 months later, you come back and they're right back doing what they were doing before. Yeah, I just start wondering, like, what the hell happened here? People are creatures of habit. And I've seen this a lot, in my time at InFocus. And I love InFocus products. I love Switch and stuff, but I watched a lot of people really struggle with this because they would stick a lot of efforts into workflow automation and then build systems that their own employees wouldn't be able to use, or they would use them as much as they could and then revert back to something else. So, according to the experts out there, it takes about 21 days for people to adopt new habits, no matter what it is, no matter how easy it is. So it's something you got to be aware of as a print shop owner, or as somebody, if you're a production manager and you're thinking about all this stuff, consider the fact that you got to kind of watchdog things for a while, get people in the habit to break their old habits, because it's always easy to go back to your old habits. So my little rant and rave about that. Anyways, here we go. One last thing, and then we get on to the Good2Go stuff. every solution that you look at out there and every vendor that knocks on your door, sends you an email, gets you on the phone, they're going to save you time, they're going to save you money, and they're going to improve your productivity. I absolutely guarantee that no one's going to show up and tell you, we're going to overcharge you, it's going to take forever, and the damn thing is going to be shut down in less than 8 months. Exactly, right? But who's going to tell you that their solution is well supported and they're there to help you out? They're there, people are on the phone willing to answer your question, that their solution is easy to learn, and their solution is flexible so it can fit into your existing workflows, your existing technologies, and your existing ways of doing business. That's really what I think is important these days, because everyone's going to tell you this stuff's going to save time. So I'll tell you that. Good2Go is going to save you time. And because we save you time, we're going to save you money. We're going to make you more productive. I mean, who the hell wouldn't say that? But who else is going to tell you that their solution is going to be flexible, easy to learn, and well supported? Because that's what I'm telling you that we're going to do. So why does this all matter? Why does all this stuff matter? Well, what matters is we're in a very, rapidly changing environment these days. The last couple of years have been freaking crazy. I mean, if they don't think they've been crazy, I know you must have been asleep or something, because I've never. 2 years was the most wacky stuff you ever saw. That's for sure. Print buyers, they want more flexibility. Email has really become a problem, and we want ways to get out of that. And employees, you've had a lot of problem getting employees, and the employees you got, you need them to do more. You need them to be more productive. Yet they got a lot of bad habits that they probably have developed, and you may need to work on helping them break those barriers in order for your business to move forward. So that's really what it's all about. It's about moving forward, and how do you make sense of all this stuff? And something else to add to this mix is there's a hell of a lot of technology out there you got to understand. I mean, in case you haven't looked around, there is cloud-based everything going on out there. Everything's in the cloud. We got the solution for this. They got a solution for you to, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with something cutesy and funny, but I can't. So I'll just save you the bad joke. But it's true. There is just a lot of stuff out there these days. And it's to spend the time to learn it all is difficult. And it's hard to know where to go. So, I appreciate you taking time to actually learn something about Good2Go and all that good stuff. But hopefully we can help you in the long run work your way through some of this. And let's get going. So let's tell you a little bit about Good2Go. Finally. So here we go. How far are we in this? See, I spent 20 minutes talking, so that's way too long. Let's get right into this. So first of all, Good2Go, we are a cloud-based service built for creative and print service providers of any size. Now that's important. Why is that? Because something I've seen in the industry as a product manager working on workflow products, that sort of stuff, is that 80% of the workflow solutions sold in the market today are sold to companies with 30 employees or larger. So the people with 20 employees or less are basically left out of the workflow automation revolution and have to rely on their MIS system to do something for them, or other systems to kind of piece it all together and make it work. Very, very difficult in that case. And I wanted to make sure that what we were building in Good2Go was flexible enough to address the needs of either one of those size of printers. We wanted to provide a perfect mix of customer service, job onboarding, and workflow services for the graphic arts industry and for print in particular. And I think you'll see that when we get into it. So some of the key features of or benefits of Good2Go: we help you keep your jobs organized. We help you chase down your customers, because keeping customers, hello, Mr. Customer, come back here. We need your review. We need something from you. Please respond. You know how it is. They're always in a hurry when it's on their time frame, but when it's on yours, you can't find them. Also, we wanted something that was easy on the print buyers. We didn't want it so any print buyer had to have an account or log in or do anything like that in order to interact with their side of Good2Go, and we wanted to make it easy for people to learn so that they could get up and running with the solution very, very quickly. And last but not least, we wanted to make sure you could get up and running with Good2Go in 15 minutes or less. Okay, so some of the features in Good2Go, we got easy job submission. So we got a nice little job submission portal that we're going to show you. We're going to also show you some automatic PDF pre-flight. We built in some really cool technology. Guess what? I used to be an InFocus Tech employee. What do you think we built into Good2Go? That's right, Pit Stop is built right into Good2Go. We also have advanced review and approval with markup capabilities, annotation, messaging, the whole 9 yards. It's really cool. I intend to show you that. And we got some automated reminders to make sure everybody's staying up to date on what the hell's going on. And you don't have to go looking for information. It just kind of shows up to you. So talk a little bit about the business side of things. First of all, we have no startup fees. Nothing's required to get going with Good2Go other than your fingers and a mouse and a lot of clicking. And the only thing you have to do is then if you decide to take a subscription is pay us $50 a month. That's for a single user account. That could be a single individual, a single person, or it could be a department like customer service for that $50 a month. And then we also have expansions to that to have additional users, 5 or 10 users, if you need to bring more people in with their own connected account. So let's go ahead and get into the demo. And we're going to start off with job submission, work our way through some job onboarding, a document review, and a collaboration. But let's get going. So I'm just going to put this away for a second. And the first thing I'm going to show you is what are we going to do with those dreaded email orders? Remember email orders? How many people get email orders? Raise your hand. If we go by the survey, about 40% of your orders are coming in by email. So let's see what we can do with them. First of all, I'm just going to go ahead and send off an email. This is an email order that came in. I'm going to send it from my account. This account does have a Good2Go account. So I can take that and send it away. I'm just going to forward that to a nifty little email called submit@good2gosoftware.com. And what does that do? That's going to do some little magic for us. And I'll show you that here in a minute. So that's how we're going to start off. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to open up a web browser. I'm going to navigate to my print shop. This is my little Progressive Prints print shop. So local, this is a pretend printer. We've made these guys up, but let's go ahead and submit a job to them and see what that looks like. So this is actually using the Good2Go job submission portal. We tried to keep this very, very simple. Now notice here, it is branded with your brand. Now Progressive Print is that pretend company. So keep that in mind here. There's our Good2Go logo up here, just so people know that this is a service provided by Good2Go. We'll start off with an email, email.com. And excuse my ability to type, talk, and demo at the same time. It's I am challenged at times when it comes to that. But here we can see Peter has done work with us before, so it's automatically pulled up Peter's information out of the database. And we can see that everything's all filled out correctly. So Peter can just continue. Now Peter has a job that he needs to upload. So let's just grab this PDF. We'll just drag and drop it in there. And then it's going to take us to another page where we get a nice little preview of that job. And you can see here, oh, look at here. It's a Pine catalog from last year, probably. Imagine that. Funny how that works out. So we're just going to go ahead and put in brochure. Brochure. Let's type it right. I'm going to need 1,000 copies of that. The actual page size on this, let's say, is 5.5 by 8.5. Now notice we tried to auto fill in this information, but you know, over here, this is actually laid out as spreads. So, you know, and it's got the bleeds and everything in there. So we had to ignore a few things. We also got 4 pages and it will be double-sided. Next. Now we expect the customer to tell us a little bit about how they'd like this finished and what kind of paper they'd like it on. Please print this on a nice matte stock, period. So whatever else they want to say, that's all we're going to say for now. And then we can pick a due date. So we'll just say that we need this delivered by next Friday, set, and then we can continue on. We can check over everything, looks good, do our final submission, and that job is off to the printer. Yay. Nice, simple, straightforward, no technical jargon in there. We try to avoid the technical jargon. Now that's, and we also tried to make it nice and flexible so it could be used for any variety of jobs. Okay, so keep that in mind. So let's switch over to Good2Go. And Good2Go runs here under my Chrome browser. And I'm going to go here to the job list. And this is Good2Go. This is what it looks like on the printer side of the house. Here you can see we got a nice little familiar layout here where we can take a look at things based on file and folders. We got these nifty little things here, this little icon. You may not know what that is, but that is called a print portal. That thing we just used, that's a portal, order submission portal. Well, this is what they look like when it actually gets into Good2Go right over here. Now, a couple other things you may notice is we got some ways that you can organize this view and everything else. So like I can see what's due today, what's going to be due tomorrow, due this week, what's overdue. I can see everything out there. I can see which jobs are approved, which ones have been rejected, any changes, all the pending jobs that are in the system, all that good stuff. So I can, click around till I'm crazy to find things however I want, as well as I can do a search and actually do a more complicated search as to, how to find that job. So we build in a lot of different ways that you can find those orders and find those jobs, as well as anything that happens in Good2Go also will generate this nifty little email. So here I can see, I unselect everything. Here you can see there's that work that just came in not too long ago and what was submitted into Good2Go that we just did a second ago. And actually, this is the print buyer side. So let me show you what the print buyer side looks like. We're just going to go ahead and click on that. And here's their receipt for that job so they can see everything that they just submitted, as well as they can upload any kind of corrections, any additional files, that sort of thing. They can update their comments if they want to. So they got all kinds of ways to interact with that job, and everything's built right here into their receipt. And again, they don't have to log on. They don't have to do anything. It's all built right in specifically for them. Over here, these are the notifications I got in Good2Go about those jobs. This was the job that we just sent in. And I'm going to go ahead and let's open that link with Chrome. So we go right into it. And this is what you see. Oop, this is the wrong job. I accidentally ordered. This is the email job, by the way, that we sent in earlier. This is, you'll notice here that it's automatically been loaded into Good2Go. But let's go back to this job right here. This is the one that we just uploaded through the job submission portal. Notice here, we got a nifty little pre-flight already done on the job. And it's telling me very plainly that there's a problem with trim page size. There's a problem with number of pages. There's spot colors detected in there, and we got some low resolution images. So now I also see on the good side that we already got a bleed. And look at there, it's an 1/8 inch bleed. So someone actually set this up correctly. It's almost like they knew what to do and they're a graphic artist. Well, let's find out why is this trim page size wrong? Because they're saying over here, it's like 1/4 of that. So when I open this up, of course, I see the same thing that they saw. And I say, okay, I can see this is set up with spread. So that makes sense. And we actually do got 4 pages here, all that good stuff. So they can actually see everything there is to see. And they can say, yeah, that's okay. And that's okay. But this low res image, that kind of bothers me here. What are we going to do to find out that? Well, that's where you can go into that file and go down to the pre-flight. And this is the details on the pre-flight. And if I scroll down here, I can even go as far as seeing that this image, there's an image on there that is very low resolution. It's like 150 pixels per inch. So let's go find out what image that is. So I'm just going to download the annotated pre-flight report. if you know pit stop, what's cool about the annotated pre-flight report is I can just click on it and it will highlight the bad image right there. So now I know which image is actually the problem. I can go back here into Good2Go. I can now mark that for the customer. In this case, I'm just going to use the highlighter here and I'm going to mark that up and put a little note here. We need a higher resolution image. And there we go. And now I can take this job here and it's already been, Good2Go automatically saves it. So now I'm going to go ahead and send that back to the customer and send it for review. I'm going to change the message. That's sort of the default message that you customize that. That's all part of your setup. Please take a look at the file. We have one correction. One of the images is too low resolution. Of course, if you need to have a deadline on that, I can actually come along and say, I need this back by 3 p.m. today. Otherwise, we're going to miss your deadline. And I'll send that email. So now that's automatically going to send that back to the customer and let them know that their job may be a problem. So now just to sort of review here, just so you remember, is we came into the job portal. We went to the job that we had. We could see the pre-flight. We could then go into the details and learn some more about that particular job and even getting down to the detailed pre-flight report and the annotated pre-flight report. So we got different levels of granularity there in getting at that information. So let's go ahead and quit that and we'll go back to the print buyer's email. Here you can see they got the request to review and approval has been requested, and there's my little note. Please take a look at the file. We have one correction. One of the images is too low a resolution. Again, branded. Again, the email here, it's branded from Progressive Print. That would be your company name right there. So we actually format our emails exactly like you would format them from something like DocuSign. In fact, that's who we mimicked everything off when it came to these sort of things, because that's what people are used to. Here we got a nice big deadline there. And if they need to review it, they can just click right there. They come into the review application. They get a little tutorial here if they want to take a look at to see how to use the tools, where to put in their comments. And here you can see the highlight and they can see the comments that they need a higher resolution. And that's really, how that all comes together right there. And then again, that's sort of your quick overview of Good2Go. So let's go back to the presentation here. And again, too, and I think I glossed over this real quick. Just going to go back again. If I go back to the CSR's email box, remember that order received, and we also received an email order. And, so that was automatically put into Good2Go right here. Received the email order was automatically put in there. And again, I get that automatic link right to it. So it's automatically going to take that file. It's going to automatically do the pre-flight and you'll be all good to go right there. So again, it's a way to help you organize those email jobs that come in. You just take them, forward it right to Good2Go and forget it. Now it will come back. It will let you know when it's all been input and processed, and then you can get direct access to it. You can edit all that stuff and start collaborating with the customer. And the pre-flight automatically gets done if it's a PDF that's in there. So just wanted to make sure I was clear about that. And let's go ahead and talk about how do you implement Good2Go. Well, you got a couple different ways to do that. One is you can just sign up for Good2Go. We got a 14-day free trial. And it does come with a tutorial that you can download, and I highly recommend you do that. That way you get everything all set up, as well as we have a Learn Good2Go on our website. Good2Go is very easy to learn once you know the basics, but what we're going to do is help you get it set up through those tutorials. And we're going to teach you some of the basics, like how to submit a file, that kind of thing, because there are different things that I didn't show You can just drag and drop a file right onto the Good2Go interface and it will automatically upload it, automatically pre-flight it if it's a PDF, that sort of thing. So you can very quickly, like add a job and give it a customer email and send it out for a review. So we teach all that stuff in the tutorial. It only takes you about 20 minutes to walk your way through it, and then you'll know everything you need to know about Good2Go, and you'll have yourself all set up. The other way you can work with Good2Go is, of course, if you like what you see, is to link it to your MIS system or your workflow system. Good2Go does have an API built into it, a REST API, so you can, it is compatible with most MIS solutions, most workflow solutions out there that also support a REST API or even an old SOAP API as well. And you can use all of Good2Go as part of the API when you're working with in an integrated solution, or you can work with just parts. You don't have to work with the whole thing. Like if you just like our review and approval and you want to make it so that you can press a button in your MIS system and have it automatically send out a PDF for review and approval based on Good2Go, you can do that. It's very, very simple to do that. In fact, I could show you how we can even do it with email. So if you want to see that sometime, give me a call, email me or make a reservation on our website. You can always book a meeting with us, a live person, and we'll show you whatever you want. But that's something I can show you. Just like with the email submission job, you just email it off to a special email address, the PDF, and it will automatically process it. Well, that's just demonstrating our API is all it's really doing. Next, what's available in our API? The review and approval, that's available. PDF pre-flight, so all the pre-flight information, pre-flight summary, all that can be gathered through our API. The order submission portal is another thing that you can initiate, as well as the file uploading, and we do that a variety of different ways, depending on what you like, as well as anything else you saw on Good2Go is basically available through our API. So, I mean, you can actually integrate API or Good2Go in such a way that you would never even know you're using Good2Go. It would just talk to your account and do its thing. So, if you have any ideas, questions, or anything about that, just give us a call or book a meeting with us on our website. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Again, we have a 14-day free trial. Feel free to give that a try. Feel free to call us if you want us to walk you through it. Feel free to set up a meeting with us. If you have questions, don't hesitate. Please don't. Pine members, you guys get a 20% off any subscription. Just let us know you're a Pine member. I'll give you the nifty little code and you'll be good to go, so to speak. So with that said, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us here today to take a look at Good2Go. And I really appreciate everyone's time in Good2Go. And Christine, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Michael. Yes, and Pine members should definitely take hold of that opportunity to receive a 20% discount. And Michael, is it sort of a one price all encompassing, or is it, sort of an a la carte as you need it?
It's one price all encompassing. That $50 gets you access to every feature you saw here today. Okay,
very good. So there's that answer. And I love the fact that, you can link your MIS and or your workflow solution to it. That's well thought out. So way to go with Good2Go. Oh my goodness, we could play on those words, couldn't we now?
Yeah, trust me, we do every time we get a chance.
Well, thank you, Michael. I know I appreciate it, and those who are participating and those who will see the video later on. This will be posted on the pine.org website for your viewing pleasure. So thank you again, Michael, and I'm sure we'll hear from you again soon.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, and look forward to talking to you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care, all.